Hello guys and welcome to the next episode of Dota 2 Academy. I know we have started and have done a couple of these back in November, and then we went on a break. That's because I was on holidays basically. These strange things do happen during December and Christmas. But anyway, we're back, and this tutorial was something I was supposed to do last year, but hey, there's no good place to do something you should have done last year, like the present. And here I want to bring you two separate shows. One will be about warding on the Radiant side in Dota 2. The second one will be, as a separate video completely, will be about warding, of course, of the dire side in Dota 2. The research I've put in this has been quite significant. There's also a lot of practice I've put into playing Dota, so most of this is just common sense after you get used to it, but then you need to learn this stuff from someone. So here I am trying to help you get your first steps done in Dota 2. If you're just starting the game, I think this tutorial will be great for you, and a great place to start about thinking, okay, what are the possible best spots for putting my words during a Dota 2 game. So without further ado, let's go to the game itself. I've picked Luna because she's quite fast. I've bought her the Boots of Travel. Yes. So let me tell you how this will work. I have disabled all of the creeps, so we won't have any battles going around, no wobbling of swords. We will only have this one character running around the map. And what I want to show you is where to put, and I call them eyeballs on the stick. Where should you put the eyeballs on the stick to make them very effective? Now, the great idea I have been given by one guy on the internet who has been making guides about warding is that each great ward serves two purposes. So you can't only have a ward that is there for just giving you vision. And I'll try to explain what that means. And that's actually a very great guide in terms of what should be a good ward. So first of all, what the two purposes may be. In terms of words, then one of the purposes, of course, is giving you vision. After you place a word, you get a certain amount of vision around it, and that's it. You just want to be safe from ganks. You want to know if an enemy player is jungling in your jungle and stealing your creeps. You want to know if there's a rune that has appeared. You may also want to use the word to block off enemy camps, and there's actually a great spot here that you can place a word, and it blocks these two camps from spawning at all. But that will be covered in an advanced tips section that we will do later on. Right now, what I wanted to focus on is to show you the basic great spots for putting down your words. So the first one, and I think the most important that you want to put when a Dota 2 game starts is right here. This is a great place, right here where my character Luna is standing. And you know, Luna is one of these characters that has boobs. This is why we choose them to make tutorials. I haven't seen too many tutorials where a male character was chosen to display some of Dota 2 knowledge. It's just easier to learn when you have some nice character to look at. Anyway, you know, majority of guys playing RPGs with female characters are just men, very fat men that are staring at you through the internet. So anyway, the first word goes down here. Oops, sorry. And this eye on the stick gives you vision. So if you're just starting to play Dota 2 and you have no idea what a word means, after I have moved away from the word, as you can see, it still gives me a good amount of vision, and what it shows you, this is a great place to have put down a word, because what it shows you is a nice part of the jungle. So if you're laning on the safe lane and you're the bad guys are trying to gank you, you will see that. You will see them coming out of this, you will see them going to the kill spot on the right, and instantly you will be able to run back, you will be able to perhaps prepare a counter-gank. And besides that, every 2 minutes you will see if there's a rune that has spawned on the river. Runes are very important throughout the game, mostly picked up by the middle player, but they can be picked up by pretty much anyone. at the map. So this word by far one of the best words to start off your game. Now the reason why it is so good is you know, during the first 5-6 minutes of the game, most of the players just stick to the lanes. They won't go ranging around the forest. They won't go trying to hunt down anyone. You know, this is the most I would say passive part of the game, and you know, you can place a great ward later on in a spot like this one, this over here, but this is a ward that you place later in the game when you are kind of safe because you already have a level, you have some form of an escape mechanism, and you are not worried so much about getting ganked. So then you can place a ward around the river, and thus you will get vision. Just let me check how to destroy the wards. That's kill wards. Okay, so we kill the wards, kill wards, boom, and there's no vision at all now. So the next spot that you may want to use as a Radiant player is this one. And people say, well, why don't you just use this one over here? It even has an eye icon. This should be pretty obvious to put down a ward here. And, you know, in many ways it is, but then if you're a Radiant player, then you lose a lot of vision for your own jungle and for your own protection. Placing a ward over here gives you some vision here, so that there won't be a player that sneaks up this path to try and gank the player on the middle. It gives a nice secure vision up here, and it also gives you a vision if the enemy team is trying to go for Roshan, which means you are pretty much safe, and you also see the rune. So this ward, when you try and enter the middle game, starts to become more and more important, and most of the teams will keep it up at most times, and it's rather important to have it. Now, an alternative to this ward, and we go kill wards again, kill ward. An alternative would be to place a ward over here. Now with this ward, which is on high ground, you still get to see the rune, and that's you know, by an inch, but you still see the rune here, and you know, okay, you have more vision. And some people even argue that this ward is much better, but then the aspect that you lose is the Roshan guy. And if you want to check if your enemy is going for the Roshan kill, then you can't really afford to have the ward over here. It's great if you're playing defensive, it's great if it's not yet after the 10th minute mark where the Roshan appears, but still, you know, despite the vision that it gives you, the great vision it gives you around your own jungle, you lose the aspect of having a Roshan checked and knowing when the opponent goes for it, and then, you know, your ability to stage a gank on them. So that's word number 3. Now, word number 4, if you are trying to play a little bit more aggressive, kill words. If you're trying to play a little bit more aggressive, then you can always place a ward here. Now, this doesn't specifically give you a whole lot more. It just gives you a little bit more of visibility around the river, which will allow you to perhaps be safer and notice earlier when the enemies are coming from the river, and being able to just gank them when they are trying to escape this way. So this ward is not very popular when you play Radiant, and I've even seen many of the Dire players using this ward spot instead of this one. But then again, if you're playing the Dire, placing a ward here is a lot hell safer than going further into enemy territory at the early game. Okay, so we go kill wards again. Thank you very much. So I mentioned earlier, it's rather important to have vision over your jungle or forest. One of the best places to have a ward when you want, where you are playing really defensively, when you know that you're losing, you have lost a tower, then what is very good is to place a ward over this place. Now the sole reason of this, that this ward has a freaking great range. I mean, you see all of the places that you may want to see. You have a vision up this little lane, then you have a vision on the camp, you have vision if anyone comes through this way, you have a vision if in case of anyone coming through this path. So you know, even this glade is covered, and you still get a lot of vision around your own base. So when you are already in the middle game and you have lost the tower at the safe lane, then this is a great ward spot because it makes you safe like hell. Now a similar one, but used more often in later game when you are already pressed hard on your back. And you know, just trying to hold your enemy in some hope of winning, is this one. And this one is just a great defensive ward, because it even has a spot, you know, that there are rocks here that have an eye, so you can put your ward inside this eye. You know, you can stick the eye on a stick to another eye. It's, you know, when you think about it, it's mind-blowing. But anyway, this gives you great vision, which is unobstructed, which is very important. You don't have any trees growing around because it's the highest level of elevation in the game. So with no trees to obstruct the vision, you just see all around this rock, and you can see pretty much everything. So if you are pressed hard on your back, and if you're being attacked, you know, you need to play defensively, this is a great place to place your ward. And you know, being marked by an eye, it is significant, and it is great to use it. Now, when you're, you know, these are words that are more or less used when you are playing on the bottom lane, which is the safe lane for the Radiant. Now, the question would be, okay, so what sort of word placement should I use if I'm playing on the middle? Now, that's a completely different question, because if you're playing on the middle, then words are a way of securing your own ass, really, because if you put your words really nicely as a middle player, or have a support put them down for you, you are secure from most of the ganks, or you know where the ganks are coming from. That's just a question of controlling the map. The second you lose control over the map, and the second you lose visibility of the, you know, enemy movement, then it's actually very hard for you. Still, they can use the smoke of DC to disappear, and they won't be discovered by your words, but this gives you a very fair bit of warning before anything bad happens to you, and should be kept at all times. So let me just move to those places. Now, by the way, something you may have not known, if you wonder, if you're attacking or defending, if you wonder what is the range of a tower, then actually the range of a tower is indicated on the ground, in the places where there's an excess foliage. So if you see flowers or rocks on the ground, they in fact indicate where the range of a tower ends, and that's pretty awesome. That's an awesome thing to know, and it's all around the map. I mean, I think the most useful one is here. Just let me give myself all vision. If you take a look here, this tower has a range exactly to these rocks, and that's very, very useful when you're trying to attack. See, these rocks also are an indicator. So if you know that and you're trying to be aggressive, it's very helpful to know when the towers will start to attack you. Okay, back to normal. So okay, let's say, no, in this scenario you're playing as the middle guy, and you are playing on the middle. Now there's also an important question. If there's a character like Pooch on the middle that would just try and hook you and gank you from a long range, you may reconsider the places where you want to put wards. But as a general rule, if you're playing on the middle and the enemy is aggressive, you want to have one ward around here. This is a great place. So let's put down my ward here, and you want to have one ward, and this actually depends on you know, the fact if you're playing against Pooch or someone else. if you place a ward here, it's this word is one of my other favorite words, but this is enough if you're playing against, you know, a regular guy. Now if you're playing against Pooch, you probably want to move this word to the other side of the river, and you may want to place it somewhere like here, which is not very effective, but then it will give you enough vision to protect you from all the hooks that are coming from. So I won't put a word here because, you know, it may be controversial, but I have found it myself extremely useful to have when playing against Pooch to evade any sort of hooks he tries to pull against you. So, but getting back to the classic words, this is one, you know, by far one of the most classic words you can use in a game of Dota, and it gives you vision over the rune, slightly more vision over the river. You can also see a little bit of ground from where Pooch can hook, or, you know, they may try to stage a gank on you, but not too much. This whole area is hidden for you, but still it gives a very decent amount of vision, and it's strongly considered to be used in the middle game and even going after to the late game. That's word number 1. Then when you're approaching middle game, perhaps you have lost this tower, you're not feeling so safe anymore, and your comfort zone has just gotten a lot smaller, then you may want to put a defensive word here. Oh, sorry, I have misplaced it a little bit. So keywords. But if you put a word down here, what it gives you is an almost absolute protection from ganks coming this way, because you see a very long way up here, so there is no way they are going to surprise you. There is no way that a player coming from this lane will be able to surprise you when you're playing on the middle. Now, of course, if you want to be defensive, you can't just be defensive from one side, you need to be defensive from two sides. So here's a second spot where you can place your ward, and again, it's not extremely popular, but it's a very good word to have if you have lost your middle tower, and it also gives you vision over you know, different approaches. Now, if someone has already placed a ward over here that covers this whole area, perhaps here, this is also a place that can often be used as a place for wards. It's enough. But then you just need to be conscious if you are protected from all sides. You need to be conscious if there are some blind spots that the enemy can use, and they will use them. I mean, they will even use them without realizing it. if you're playing and they will just go and try and kill you. They won't think, if they are not professionals, they probably won't even think, oh, I'm quite sure he didn't put a ward here, we are going to punish him. No, they will just go after your ass, and if you are not protected from these angles, you will not notice them. So you will lose against yourself. It will not be their determination or wit that kill you. No, it will just be your blindness on the map and the lack of map awareness. Alright, so I think we have covered the spots you may use as the middle player. Now let's go, and you see me, you know, going like this. This is because I have prepared a list of all the words. There's a lot of word spaces that you can use in Dota. I mean, I'm covering around half of the ones that are used by professionals because this is a basic guide, but still I wanted to be sure that we have everything covered and we don't forget about a single word. So let me use a little bit of cheating. So that would be item, and I think it goes item word observer. Yes, it goes exactly like this. Item word observer. I can use these cheats because I'm playing on my local machine. I'm playing against myself and bots, if I would care to have any in this game. Right. So right now we have 12 more words to show you how to ward if you are playing on the hard lane. You know, if you're playing here, this is called the hard lane because in most cases when the creep wave meets, it's around here, so it's a freaking long way from your own tower, and you cannot really say you're safe. No, these guys are safe because their tower is just around the corner and your tower is far away. But anyway, let's say it came to the worst and you're playing on this lane. Now what should you do to protect yourself? One of the words that sometimes is being used, but more often when a tower is lost, is around here. Because this gives you vision that the tower loses and you will see the enemies approaching. But again, this is not a very commonly used word, it's only used after you lose a tower. Something perhaps a little bit better if you're playing on this side of map is just a little bit. And again, this is not a word that's used very often. Would be placing a word somewhere around here. I won't place it right now, but this gives you a lot of vision for the river. And if you cut down this tree, this also gives you vision for the enemy approaches. Now, what I like to do myself is cut down this tree when I'm playing on this lane, and just place the ward where usually the opposing team places their ward. And this gives you, and again, after you cut down this tree, this gives you the vision you need, this gives you the safety you need to play against them. If they are, if you're going too far into their territory, if you're getting to the kill box here, you will see them staging a kill against you, because they will be in the forest. Now let's use the quelling blade. Thank you very much, and cut down this tree to display to you how this can be used. Okay, so see how the vision improved a lot, and this ward now gives me a vision into this part of the lane, and a lot of the jungle. So I'm pretty well, my ass is pretty much secure against all the ganks that they are trying to pull against me, and I will have a forewarning before anything bad happens to me.
On the prowl.
So let me just give it a think. I think that this covers pretty much every basic word you should use when playing as a Radiant. There are more words when you get... Sorry, that's my company cell phone. So there are more word spots when you are playing offensively and the game, is in its late stage. When it comes to the end game, you start to use the spots for wording that your opponent would normally use in the earlier stages of the game. So for an example, let me show you that. But for an example, a very good place to put down a word is if you're winning the middle lane, if you have destroyed a tower and you just want to continue your aggression, perhaps above these rocks is a great place to put down a ward, because this is the main staging area for ganks. If before team fights, if you don't have vision up these stairs, and normally you don't have it, then you can be very easily ganked. Now another great place to put down a ward would be on the ward spot when around here. So it gets pretty dangerous if you want to have it, but this gives you a little, first of all, it gives you vision over the rune, but this also gives you a little bit of vision into the forest. Normally also, I should have covered this, but normally also you can use this place, because it also gives you a vision on the rune. It gives you a little bit of vision into their jungle, and just in case if they are approaching and want to go through the river, it's quite good. But then by far this word that I showed you earlier is more often used. If you have this word and you kind of feel safe, or have this one up here, you don't need to place a word on the eye on the rocks.
Good plan.
And this, guys, will be pretty much it for the basic guide of wording for the Radiant. I hope this has been useful for you. The whole objective of this Dota 2 Academy series is just, bring you closer to esports, really. We want to have more people playing esports, not only StarCraft, not only Dota. We want to show you your way into playing, perhaps if not at the competitive level, because that's a lot of work, and I have the fullest respect for the guys that are playing it at this level. But you know, to play with your friends, enjoy the game, and be really good at it, this is what we are trying to do. We are trying to show you how to improve. We are trying to find, you know, we're trying to do the research for you. As you can imagine, finding all of these word spots isn't something that takes up, you know, 12 minutes. It's something that takes up a little bit practice, a little bit more knowledge about the game. So this is exactly the reason I try to make this composition for you guys. So for these of you guys on YouTube that are watching, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for supporting us. We will follow up this with a guide about wording for the Dire. For these of you that are online, we will have a questions and answers session about this with examples. So if you didn't get if you didn't get a part of this tutorial, we will explain further. And that's it really. So thank you very much for watching, and see you in a second.